I'm often asked, how do you get such good quality out of the Logic 6920? And I always have the same answer. It's all in the lighting. Now throughout the years, my lighting setup has grown and evolved. What used to be just 2 desk lamps has now evolved into 3 desk lamps, as well as these tiny LEGO LED strips, and these little tinier things. I'll tell you where I got these in a minute. It may not seem like much, but small subtle changes in lighting can really make a huge difference. If you've ever been in any type of media production class, you've probably seen this picture, 3-point lighting. One light is meant for the subject, that's the key light. The other is meant to fill in these harsh shadows, make the light more even. That's the fill light. And then you have your backlight. This is meant to light up the back of your subject. Now the backlight is something you want to pay more attention to because that gives your characters this nice white glow around them. And let me tell you, this goes a long way. The 3 lights together look like this. You'll find that if you turn each one of them off, you'll be getting a different type of lighting setup. When it comes to lighting, there's really no right or wrong way to do this. It all comes down to, does the lighting match the tone I'm looking for in my video? Now, you can have concepts like 3-point lighting, but don't limit yourself to just that. Do whatever it takes to get the emotion and atmosphere that you're looking for out of your picture. Because lighting is not only just about clarity, it's also about mood. It's about tone, it's about atmosphere, it's about emotion. Look at these different photos I took of the same exact character of the same exact set. You go through them and you find that each one conveys a different tone, a different message. You have your normal day at the office. You have a spooky, scary night. You have a life-changing experience. It's all in the lighting. Now let's take a look at this shot from 2019. Everything here is pretty much evenly lit, and you can tell that the light sources are from the sky or the ceiling, based on how it reflects off the Lego's head. The issue with this type of lighting is that because everything is so evenly lit, and because they're all being lit by the same source, everything just kind of looks flat. There's no real separation from the foreground characters and the background objects. This might not seem like much, but if you're going for a more dramatic setting, this type of separation can really make it seem like your characters are much more important, like what they're going through matters. Now, this type of lighting is fine for the type of video this is, because this is mostly a comedy, but in a serious setting it probably wouldn't work as well. But to be quite honest, it can be difficult to achieve this look when you're only using desk lamps on something as small as Lego. As you can see, these 2 desk lamps alone are bright enough to illuminate the entire scene evenly, which can make it really difficult to get a more cinematic, dramatic look. Not to say that it's impossible to achieve this look, because you can use techniques like diffusion. Alright, so this is diffusion in action. I have this normal light here, okay, you can see it. I have a softbox attached to it. It's just a small one, you know, you can clamp it on. If you have one, I suggest using one. But you don't really need one of these. You can also just use one of these sheets of paper. I also have this sheet of paper here because it's bouncing the light from here onto Spider-Man's face. And this is how it looks like in the actual video. Now, the paper does a very important job here. It reflects most of the light onto Spider-Man's face. But the original lamp is still acting as a solid backlight. Not only that, but it's not actually illuminating the background completely. The paper is actually reflecting the light off of the lamp into the background, allowing us to see a bit of the background. But because a much stronger light source is being fixated onto the character itself, it gives some distance between the character and the background, which gives us more 3-dimensional lighting. And this is how it looks like without the softbox at all, without the paper or anything. It's just the single lamp. Now the lighting doesn't work as well. And to go another step, I aim my second light towards the background exclusively. I think this is probably one of the biggest deals when it comes to 3-dimensional lighting. You really don't want more than one light source to be focused on something. So if you have 2 lamps, try to make sure that they're both doing individual tasks. Have one light the characters and have the other one light the background. Now, a third light is probably the best way you can utilize this technique. That way you can have one lamp specifically focused on backlighting the characters and another lamp focused on filling up the character's face. But you know, not everybody has 3 lamps. So using a piece of paper to bounce the backlight onto your character's face is probably a viable solution if you don't have 3 lamps. Because white surfaces reflect all light. It's actually a pretty big deal. And here's a quick tip. If you have a character who's like wearing a hat and your light source is coming from above, you'll probably notice that there's a pretty big shadow on their face. So to fix this, get like a white piece of paper or even like a white Lego piece and just slide that under the character and make sure that stays out of frame, and that will bounce the light back onto its face, which will illuminate their face a little bit better. And another thing, sometimes when you're using harsh lights, you'll get these very noticeable reflections on the Lego pieces because Lego is a reflective material. If you want to make this softer, just slap a piece of paper in front of the light and, you know, adjust it a bit to make sure that harsh reflection gets a little bit softer. It softens the light. And having a softer light gives it that kind of cool halo effect, you know, around here you can see. And that can work well too. You can also get some color gels, put them in front of your lights, and have a completely different mood, which also helps to add to a cinematic feel. The lamps I use are always with these white bulbs. This is important because white light is the easiest to manipulate to form other colors, so use white. Alright, now it's time to talk about LEDs. I think these are the ultimate game changer when it comes to making these videos. The difference between having these in your set versus not having them at all is like, it's staggering. It makes your characters look shiny, it makes the world feel more lived in and more natural. It looks cool. And most importantly, it does a lot to help bring out the small details of your figures. That's how you get that quality. But truth be told, these can be kind of expensive. I bought my brick lights off of brickstuff.com, and you should go there too. But make sure you're not like breaking the bank when doing this. I'd say start off by getting the USB power cable, and then you can use that to power these LED lights, these really small ones, as well as some of these warm white LED light strips. And you might also want a high power analog dimmer because that controls the intensity of your lights, and if you don't have one, you might be kind of blinding your audience. With that all being said, it's important that you make sure you're confident about these concepts before you start buying stuff. Filmmaking is about how you use the equipment, not how much money you throw at a video. Throw that money at my Patreon instead. Now finally, light flicker. It's impossible to fully destroy, no matter who you are. But here are some quick tips. 1. Block out all natural sunlight. 2. Only use your desk lamps, never the light in your room. 3. Wear black, because black absorbs light, while other colors reflect it. 4. Play around with your camera settings until you find something that works. 5. If none of this works, mask out the light flicker. This is something I end up having to do a lot. Light flicker is weird. It can be caused by any number of things, even just by the way electricity interacts with your house. It's really weird and we really don't have control over it. Because even when I was working at a stop motion TV studio, there were some issues with light flicker. No one is truly skilled enough to escape. This is why I more often than not resort to masking out flicker. Whatever you use to do your masking, I suggest trying that. And that's pretty much all I have to say about lighting. So, thank you very much for watching this video. If you felt like you learned something, please leave a like or a comment. And if you have any questions, let me know. The next animation is not going to be Thor, it's going to be Spider-Man. I'm trying to work on this new Spider-Man short. I haven't done one of these in a while and I miss doing it and I kind of want to do it while I'm still setting up for Thor because there's a lot of things I still need to get a hold of to make that video. Like Asgard, I gotta get like 1 billion gold pieces still to make those sets. But hopefully Thor can come out maybe the week after next, I'm hoping. And if not that week, then probably the week after that one. So in like 2 or 3 weeks. Until next time, thank you very much for my Patreons for supporting the channel. If you want to be a member of the Patreon and get access to some commentaries, to be this minifigure on the wall, as well as in some videos, just go to patreon.com/edbound. And until next time, peace.